Ologbondiyan. Good evening and welcome to AtikuLive Studios.
Thank you very much, Anthony, and thank you for bringing me on AtikuLive Studio, and thank you, great members of the People's Democratic Party. Our party, as the name connotes, belongs to the people out there.
You are still a man of the people. I can still see that you are still very, very connected. And one thing the PDP enjoyed with you as a National Publicity Secretary, that you were a man that was at ease with everybody. You had an open door policy, and you connected with the masses. Everybody saw you as their own man. Well, how has it been out of office for you?
Tony, I think the spirit behind the People's Democratic Party, giving its name as the People's Party, is that connectivity with the ordinary Nigerians out there. The tomato sellers, the vulcanizers, the mechanic, the people who make up what Nigeria is. It is that connectivity that the PDP holds with them. And that is why those who came into power after PDP are finding things extremely difficult, because there's that connection with the people is not really there. They can't find it. But the PDP has that connectivity. And whether you are in office in PDP today, or the gentleman who is taking this shot is the one in office in the People's Democratic Party today, that link, that tie is permanently there. Life out of office, am I really out of office? I still go around to do my rounds in support of our party, and I'm still inclined to Nigerians. And I still go around, like I've toured no fewer than 25, 26 states since I left office, to have a feel of what the people think ahead of 2023, and to also ensure that this message is taken to the appropriate quarters within our party.
Since you've jumped on the issue of 2023, let's dive straight into the 2023 issues. How do you see these elections for the PDP in general, across board?
Oh, the 2023 election is the brightest chance for us in the People's Democratic Party since we lost election in 2015. In 2019, we fought very, very hard. We fought ferociously hard against the incumbent. But Nigerians all know what happened and what transpired. But in spite of that, we were able to get some of the states that were taken away from us, although at the end, they also came to steal one, and other people left the party and all that. But I think that the People's Democratic Party is standing on a very solid ground ahead of the 2023 election. With 13 states and Osun coming to join, making 14 states, I believe that we are good to go in this election, and the election is for us. And I believe the PDP, our candidate, Atiku Abubakar, the Waziri Adamawa, and his running mate, Dr. Ifeanyi Otto Okowa, will give the success to the People's Democratic Party.
Yeah, Mr. Kola Ologbondiyan, you have a way of connecting these things. So we'll stay on the topic. You're now setting the agenda here.
I'm listening to you. I'm following you.
But let's stay on the topic, since you've raised the issue of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and his vice presidential candidate Ifeanyi Otto Okowa, the governor of Delta State. What's your take on these individuals, and what do you think they have to offer Nigerians?
Well, they have lots to offer to our nation. And already, as you can see in the public space, Nigerians are rallying with Atiku Abubakar and Dr. Okowa. They are doing so because they have pedigree. They have where they are coming from, and they have a connectivity with the people. Atiku's name is a brand. And when I say a brand, every polling unit in Nigeria, he doesn't need any introduction in any polling unit in our country. That in itself has put him ahead in the 2023 election. But having said that, Atiku Abubakar has the experience. That's the beginning. Among the rank of the people out there who wants to be president, it is only Atiku Abubakar who had been in the villa and had functioned for 8 years, both in acting and as a vice president of the Federal Republic. He has taken decisions. He has been in an environment where he had to suggest to his boss, to make suggestions to his boss on what to do. And like I say always, when I have the opportunity to speak to Nigerians, Here is the candidate who can say between 1999 and 2003, on the issue of security, we recruited 10,000 policemen. But several years, we cannot do 10,000 policemen. We can do more experience. Atiku Abubakar has the chance and the advantage above any other aspirant to say that insecurity wasn't this high. Well, I'm a retired customs officer, and I had a responsibility and a duty to man the territorial integrity of this country. And this was the way we were doing it then. And we never had this level of insecurity. So, we can improve on it. And that is why he had already said that he will bring in technology into the issue of insecurity. He has also said, he has also spoken to the fact that we need another level of policing. All these are born out of experience. And, you know, Atiku Abubakar has the support of the youth. He's very, very youth-friendly. We see people like former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives and former Governor of Imo State, Emeka Ihedioha, Honorable. He's a product of Atiku Abubakar. I was a reporter in the villa when Honorable Emeka Ihedioha went to run with the support of Atiku Abubakar for House of Reps. People like Olu Akande, who is no longer with us in the People's Democratic Party, these are products of Atiku Abubakar, who started as youths. So when you speak to the personality of Atiku Abubakar, you are speaking to a personality that is politically experienced and has had the privilege of governing Nigeria, even though as a vice presidential candidate. But he had his impact. He has the area of impact. And I say it without an atom of doubt, that there is nobody in the political firmament today, among those who say they are running for presidency, that can withstand Atiku Abubakar.
Not even Peter Obi.
I don't like mentioning names. Peter Obi was running mate to Atiku Abubakar in 2019. I'm talking about people who have the right experience, who have been in the villa, not those who are coming to learn. I'm talking about somebody, a person, a personality, a Nigerian who has the experience in office as vice president, among the array of the people who are contesting now, who had been in the villa as vice president. Name one. None. Even the Emilokons, they haven't had that chance.
When you say Emilokons, who are you referring to, sir?
Who doesn't know who Emilokon is in Nigeria? The Emilokons are the people in the APC now, and the candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This is one who came out and said the Emilokon as if we want to package Nigeria and put it in the hands of an.
What's the meaning of Emilokon, sir?
Oh, Emilokon means it is my turn. It's like a title. It's like a title in a community. In a title, that's naturally a sense of entitlement now. It's a title, it's like a title in a community, like in the Emilokon of Bodilon. That's what it means.
Interesting. Let's go back to while you were speaking. You mentioned something about the 2019 election, and that we had some misgivings, or you had some misgivings while you were, and at the time you were a director of publicity of that presidential campaign.
Yeah.
So with INEC's performance then, and with recent happenings in INEC, with people, I know at some point you had spoken to a few people and raised some issues about the new postings or the new recommendations to the Senate that the president has just made for 19 resident electoral commission, which CSOs have flagged a number, actually 4 of them. What's your take on this?
Shocking to me, and I believe it's shocking to many Nigerians out there, that President Muhammadu Buhari, who has expressed determination to make 2023 election credible above all the other elections that we have had in them. It is strange that the same office of Mr. President treating people who are members, card-carrying members of the All Progressives Congress as electoral officers, returning electoral officers in INEC, as regs, commissioners, resident electoral commissioners in INEC, And as we speak, and I give a lot of gratitude to people like Samson Itodo, another CSO, who have come out openly to challenge the process. And I invite our party, the People's Democratic Party, to move into the arena quickly. Because if you do not safeguard the process, if you allow people who are members of the opposition, who are the ruling government, how can we get a free, fair, and credible election if this is permissible? So I believe into the arena, and I believe they have already done so, to ensure that not just the 4 that has been identified, whose nominations are before the Senate President and the Senate as a body, we must also go after those even that we are not sure of, carry out a background check on each of the individuals in order to be sure that there will be honest arbiter in the 2023 election. This is very important.
During your tenure as National Publicity Secretary, I remember there was an issue you raised about
Loretta Onoche and the other lady that was said to be a relation of Amina. Yes.
So what do you think? Is it that this government willy, or it's just a mistake?
Well, I put the blames at the end. I want to put the blames at the level of the various institutions whose responsibilities are to do the background check of these individuals. If they are not properly checked and they are able to swing their ways to the office of Mr. President, there's no way that Mr. President, who sees over 200 million Nigerians, will be able to identify a particular individual as being a cat. I don't want to believe so. But I believe that there are institutional networks that are charged with the responsibility of checking up who these individuals are, and on account of their checks will advise the appropriate offices about their nominations. Where that fail, we might end up having umpires who are members, sympathizers, or supporters of the party we are going to contest the election against. And I don't think that speaks well.
Is there more that can be done?
Oh,
if you were
as an advice, so much needs to be done. Whatever can be done to ensure that they do not pass training must be done. You recall in the case of Loretta Onoche, the nomination was withdrawn eventually, even though they gave other reasons different from political. But the fact of the matter was that there was respite because her nomination was withdrawn. The same must apply in this circumstance. If after the checks, they are discovered to have loyalty to a political party, they are discovered to be card-carrying members of a political party, or they are discovered to have sympathies, they can't be umpires, no matter the beavers that have been introduced in INEC.
Let's go to beavers. Do you think that the INEC is capable of conducting free, fair, and credible elections? Considering that an article was written, I don't know if you saw the article by Professor Chidi Odinkalu, where he raised concerns about the performance of beavers. Do you think that's a challenge to the elections, or do you think?
Well, I want to be honest with you that I have not read the article by Professor Chidi Odinkalu. However, I'm concerned about the possibility of human influences, but I have not come to a conclusion on this. I'm also carrying out some empirical investigations in respect of what INEC will do and what INEC will not do ahead of the 2023 election.
Okay. So let's go back to the man Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. What areas of specific intervention, knowing him, do you think that he's going to, or what do you think he's going to offer Nigerians that? I know you've mentioned a few things, but can you be more specific?
Well, Atiku Abubakar has stated clearly. For instance, as we speak, I think we are going to the 6th or the 7th month in which students of the higher institution have been at home. And for instance, as we speak, pupils and students of colleges in FCT have not resumed school. They were chased out of school before they could even round up the last term, because of fear of insecurity. And you know, like I said emphatically, Atiku Abubakar has provided measures by which security of our nation can be improved. But I'm also going to the aspect of education. Made it abundantly clear that the educational system requires remodeling. We're going to work on that. On the issue of economy, you will recall in 2019, we worked together in 2019 to some extent. Yes. And you will recall that Atiku Abubakar came out and said that, look, he believes in private-public partnership. He believes that the responsibility of government enabling environment that will give it is to thrive. But the APC people, because they didn't understand the philosophy, because they have no plans. Oh, they came out and said that he wants to sell Nigeria to his friends. And that was amazing. That was shocking. What did they do eventually? Or what are all the manipulations that is, for instance, all about?
Because I remember
is it not an abuse? Is it not a worse abuse? Or does it show an understanding of the economy? So I believe that first and foremost, Atiku Abubakar will unify this country. Because that is a platform upon which any other plan can stand. Unity is of essence. And that's what is lacking today. That's why every Nigerian is afraid. That's why everybody is scared. So here is a man who, when you look at him standing, the aura around him showcases the fact that he's an attraction to all Nigerians. Here is a man that you can speak to his interests across various ethnic groups in Nigeria. Here is a man in whom you can entrust this country to and go to sleep, because we will not have a situation of crisis. And even when you take Dr. Otto Ifeanyi Okowa, a governor that has run a multi-ethnic society like Delta State, who has understanding of the diversities of our nation, who else can support a president like Atiku Abubakar? If not Okowa, who has these advantages. And mind you, Dr. Okowa was in the Senate as chairman Senate Committee on Health, sprouting medical centers and supervising them and oversighting them across Nigeria. So the set of candidates that the People's Democratic Party has produced ahead of 2023 is one that fits into the exigencies of today's Nigeria. And that's why I'm confident in my belief. And given the various levels of interactions that I've had with Nigerians, that this is the best of time since 2015 for the People's Democratic Party, and the candidates that were presented are the best, are more fitting into the things that are required to run Nigeria of today.
Okay, sir. We've talked about the candidate, but let's talk about the PDP. Very recent happenings in the PDP with the, how should I call it, these pleasures expressed by Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, and people who are with him. What's your take on this issue, and do you think the PDP is capable of resolving its internal issues?
The People's Democratic Party has more than a capability to resolve all issues. And I will not want to go into the details of all that's happening, but I am confident that the matter will be resolved, because the candidate of our party, Atiku Abubakar, has already told members, leaders, stakeholders of the party that he should be allowed to manage these issues. And I think that from what we are seeing in the public space and from the optics that we are getting, the issues are being managed. And I'm confident that at the end of the day, some of the things that are happening here today in this election are normal occurrences. In 2019, when Atiku Abubakar nominated Peter Obi as his running mate, there were issues in the southeast. Some people even believe that the volume of votes that came out of the Southeast in that election were a function of the nomination of Peter Obi. I don't know how far it is true. But there were cases like that. So there will always be issues. Anthony, if today you are the one nominated, there will be cases, there will be issues in Edo and other parts of South. But the bottom line of it all is at the end of the day, we can go into election as one indivisible, indestructible political party. And that party is the People's Democratic Party. And you see, given what we have across the nation today, given the political calculations in the firmament as we speak today, PDP will win the 2023 election.
That's your prediction?
PDP will win. Atiku Abubakar will be sworn in on May 29, 2023 by the grace of the Almighty God.
Well, my former boss, my mentor, I'd like for you to do one more thing before we go. I'd like for you to look into the camera and tell Nigerians why they should support and vote for Atiku Abubakar come February 26, 2023.
It is our common interest as Nigerians to get ourselves out of the abyss that the All Progressives Congress has thrown us in the last 7 years. And that candidate that we all know, the personality who understands the diversities of our nation, is Atiku Abubakar. He's the candidate that the People's Democratic Party has presented as its own. And is your own candidate too. Let us come together. Let us shake off all the differences in whatever form, whether in religion, whether in ethnic, and support Atiku Abubakar.
Thank you very much, sir, for obliging us and coming to AtikuLive studio.
Thank you very much.
You are one of the founders of this studio because you allowed it to thrive during your tenure as. I remember the first experiment you went into had your blessing as National Publicity Secretary, and it's
we use my office in Wada.
Yes, we used to. You offered us when we didn't even have a studio. You said, Tony, come and do it in my studio. I'm not supposed to be your host today, but Osaneni will have you on the conversation. This is my special one-on-one interview with my former boss, the former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Kola Ologbondiyan. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, Tony, and I hope I will do more conversations here.
Oh, definitely.
And I believe that even this will be greater than CNN.
No, thank
in
you
a matter
so much.
of time.
Thank you so much, and thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nigerians.